How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Lucero Gaming. Today I am showing you all about the SD40, from starting it up to cutting it out. So let's get into it. I hope everyone is having a great day today. And so, like I said, I'm going to show you how to get this bad boy running. Okay, so the handbrake is on and the locomotive is completely off. It's dead. Okay, so the first thing you want to do once you get into the cab is you want to open up this fuse cabinet right here. Okay, you have a bunch of breaker switches, but it's okay, there's only a few that you need to turn on. So the first thing we want to do is hit our main breaker or knife switch, and then everything in the black right here we're going to flip over. Okay, so this is everything to control your engine and your generator and your engine compartment. Now switch left on. Okay, and now there's some other breakers up here. Okay, and you can see that there are radio, lights, heaters and stuff like that. So instead of closing in and doing what you got to do, you might as well just flip these now. And so let's get the radio, the lights, and the hit, so both lights. And you can flip this one over. I don't know what that's for. Okay, we don't need the heaters. The utilities, turn that one on. Warning device, so I think that's for your alerter. And then electronic devices, it's something else for electronics. Okay, once we're done here, we can close that. Now let's turn on our engine room and our platform lights. If this was in the dark, I highly recommend that, but I just want to show you that once you flip this engine room light, it will turn on. Okay, and make sure that your isolation switch right here is on the start, stop, and isolate. Now we're going to head back through the back door to the engine room. Okay, and so what you want to look for is this window right here. There's the engine back in here, and it'll be the panel before it. You'll unlatch it and open it up on both sides, and you can see there's a light, and it lights it nice. Actually, lights it really good in here. Okay, and so you have your starter and your primer. Okay, and so this is a diesel locomotive. You want to prime that fuel. Okay, so you want to hold it about 5 to 7 seconds. Okay, and it stopped right there. Yep. Yeah, that box that keeps popping up, it just wants to see if I want to stop doing this job, which I don't. Okay. So once we get it prime, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over to start it. Okay. Yeah, I'm having problems with the starter. I think there's a bug glitch in it, because let's see if it starts this way with the prime. Or I guess you don't need it at all. Okay. So if you're having issues with that specific thing, just keep playing with it, I guess, and you'll eventually start. Okay. Now, what you can do, let me close the door, get it quiet. There we go. So, if you wanted to, you can get these switches up here, but I don't worry about it because we have to come back here eventually. So once we get this thing started, what we're going to do is come back to the isolation switch and put it to run. It's going to be up, and now the engine is ready to run. And before I sit down, the last two switches I want to do are the number lights for the rear and the front. Okay, and the number lights are these lights for right here. See, 2431. Okay, yeah, I'll keep that closed. It's loud with that open. Now let's cut it in. So let's start from the bottom and then we'll work our way right. Okay, So down here you're gonna have, it should be right here in trail. Okay, it should be in trail. You're gonna switch over to lead, and then once you get that cut in, let's put a full set with your independent, just like that. Now we'll move up to our automatic, and the easiest way to do it, and let me show you why, okay, is to grab this handle and knock it off. Now I want you to watch these needles. Okay, now we're going to cut in, and you see how these needles automatically go up? That means that once, if it was in handle off and you cut that in, all the air is going to leak out. Okay, so it's easier and it's kind of faster to build your air up going that way. Alright, so since we're now here, we're going to test our horn. And that's working. We'll turn off our bell. And then you see these 3 switches right here. These are for your lights. And let's see what this is. Gauge lights, step lights, and ditch lights. Okay, and then we're gonna move down to this switch. This is for the rear headlights, and you always want them on dim. Okay, I'm trying to figure out why you can hear the air leaking. Okay, I'll leave it off. I have the handbrake on, so we shouldn't be rolling away. Okay, then you got your dynamics, your throttle, and your reverser. And so if it's out, that one was left in, so we'll just put it back in, and that's how you do it. It's real easy. Okay, and then we're gonna come back to here, and it was already on, but just want to make sure you turn your headlights to bright, and then you come up to the top, and all these 3 switches, I don't know what's going on, why this locomotive wasn't properly turned off. Okay, so all these 3 switches right here are off, and all you're gonna do is flip them on. Okay, and so now with everything on right there, I'm just gonna test it to make sure that we have power. So I'm gonna throttle up, notch 3, and you can hear the engine revving. We'll notch back down. Okay, and so once we get that all cut in and everything switched over, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna make sure that my lights are on correctly. Okay, because our ditch lights and our headlights should be on, and then our rear headlight should be on dim. So let's go check that out. So we got our ditch lights, we got headlights, again, number lights. You see that we got step lights here. You can see right there is our platform light. And so these lights are not going to be on because it should be on this side of the locomotive. Okay. And I think they should be on. Let's climb up here. I don't know, they look on to me, I think. Yeah. So they should be on. That's at a switch above the isolation switch. So let me get back in the cab, and then there's a few other things I'm going to tell you about. Okay, so before we get everything cut out and turn it off, I just want to kind of explain to you what this switch right here is for, okay? And so right now we are on controlling with unit coupled at long hood end. So since we have a locomotive on our rear end, and this is a long part of the locomotive, that means long hood end. Okay. Now if you go down to this next one completely down, That one says controlling with unit coupled at short hood end. Now keep this in mind. The controlling unit is what we are in right now. Okay, so short hood end is obviously this side. So if we had a locomotive on that side, we'll have that switch to there. We come back to this one, and it says control from another unit coupled at either end. And so in reality, that one back there will be in that switch mode. Okay, it doesn't matter if you hook up to that end on the short end or the long end, it will always control it because of this switch right here. Okay, and now our last switch is going to be single unit or intermediate unit. So if we were just one single locomotive unit, we'll have that switch on there. Now, intermediate unit is if this locomotive was in the middle, so if it was sandwiched between a locomotive that's in the front up here and that one right there in the back, it would be sandwiched in between, and we'll have that into the intermediate. So since we have two locomotives and all that stuff, we're going to keep it onto controlling with unit coupled at long hood end. So that's just a little bit how that switch works. Okay, so now we're gonna cut it back out. So if you ever have to get into another locomotive or like swapping ends or anything like that, this is what you got to do. We're gonna start from the right hand side and work our way back. So we're gonna knock and turn off all these switches. Move down and go to off. Okay. So we got two light switches there. We'll get the reverser and pull that out. So real quick, with these lights right here, the headlights in the rear, anytime you are on the main line or in the siding, you always want to make sure that these lights are always on dim. Okay, that's just a marker light to give other trains to know that there's a train in that area. They can see them from a distance. So we got the rear lights knocked off. Now we're going to go up and we're going to knock off these three switches again. Okay, we don't need to worry about the bow, nothing like that. And then we're going to go here to the automatic, and we're just going to put about a 70% set on it. 75, 76, it's somewhere around there. And then what you're going to do is cut it out and then handle off. Just like that. So what that technically does, so if we had a train on us, like an actual train, and we were swapping ends, since we set that, the cars behind the locomotives will have brakes on them. So if you're swapping ends or doing anything, you'll always have brakes throughout the whole train. Okay, and then all we have to do is, since it should be in the full application, but since for some reason the air's leaking, we'll have it off. And all you have to do is come back to this knob and put it to trail. And so that's everything about cutting out this locomotive and ready to get swapped over. Now, how do we turn it off? Well, it's simple too. Just push this button right here, the emergency cutoff switch, and you hear the locomotive turning off. Okay. Well, there's one thing I forgot to do is get this switched over to the stop. That's good. And then you can knock these off if you wanted to. You can leave them on, it's up to you, but I'll just turn them off. Because the minute you pull this knife switch, there's no power running through this locomotive. Okay. And again, we'll just go back, reverse, and knock off all these breakers that we turned on. It's pretty easy to do. Once you get the hang of it, then there's that. So if you made it this far, give the video a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you like content like this. And I do have the GP38 walkthrough and how to start those, so if you are curious or need help with those ones, I can leave a link in the description below. And also, my next video would be the 4400. Now that one's a little bit different to cut in and cut out and turn on and turn off. So if you need help on that one, again, keep an eye out for that video coming shortly. So again, knife switch is down, close up the cabinet. Again, this locomotive is now dead, there's nothing in it, and that's it. You can tie your handbrake and it won't roll away. So that would complete this video. Again, thank you guys for clicking, and I will see you on the next one.